Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today, it's pretty focused. We're synthesizing 25 really powerful lessons from someone who went through this massive growth spurt, achieving huge goals in just 1 year. We're talking between ages 24 and 25. And this isn't just, theory. In that short time, the person behind these lessons. She hit Forbes 30 under 30, launched her self-obsessed journal business, which really took off, especially after some, public failures before landed dream brand deals, and traveled the world. It's like a playbook for a quick transformation.
Yeah, and these lessons are super personal, but honestly, they're scalable for you, the learner. So to make them really actionable, we've grouped the 25 points into four main themes. First, getting past old failures and handling risk. Second, building up your internal resources, energy, intuition, healing. Third, dealing with the social side effects of growth, which, let's be real, can be messy. And finally, optimizing how you work for success that actually lasts.
Okay, let's unpack that. Theme 1, overwriting past reality. This is huge, right? Because our brains, they're just wired for safety. And that means past failures. They often stop us cold when we want to try something new.
Exactly. And that brings us to lesson 1. Forget the past. It sounds simple, but it's tough. This person, she had several failed businesses, starting way back in her teens. The big shift came when she stopped letting those old flops dictate her current choices. You can't base today's risk assessment on yesterday's negative outcome. That reality, it just doesn't exist anymore.
Right. It's this conscious choice. Stop replaying what went wrong. Instead, you got to visualize the outcome you want and lean into that possibility, even if it feels, scary. Choose the potential over the familiar failure. That's where that idea, more risk, more reward, really comes into play. You're fighting your own safety wiring.
And fighting that mental default is exactly why lesson 7 is crucial. Lock into your goals. She noticed that when her mind had too much downtime, too much space, it would literally, go fishing in the past. Dredging up old hurts, arguments, people.
Because the past is safe, isn't it? Familiar. Ruminating doesn't require any real risk or effort. But creating something new, that's hard.
Totally. So the brain defaults to the easy, known pain. The fix she found. Meaningful self-care, or getting really absorbed in productive work. It keeps your focus so tight the mind just doesn't have room to spiral down those old rabbit holes.
Which connects directly to this really powerful idea about identity. Lesson 14. Stop using struggle as an identity. She gives this example of being a woman of color, acknowledging the history there, the disadvantages, but actively choosing not to make that struggle her core identity.
It's like refusing to let outside circumstances define your internal landscape. Her philosophy. Be a bit delusional. Just decide to believe things work out for you.
Yeah, so if you miss out on something, you don't immediately blame the external disadvantage. You just look forward and the result. She found she walked into rooms feeling more confident, not already bracing for what might go wrong.
But isn't there a risk there? Like ignoring real systemic issues if you just decide everything works in your favor. How do you balance that self-belief with, objective reality?
That's the tension. Exactly. It's not about pretending those obstacles don't exist. It's about choosing not to build your identity around them. By doing that, you stop pouring energy into fighting the external narrative about you, and instead you pour it into your own confidence, your own actions. It's more about energy management than social commentary, really.
Okay, I see. It's a pragmatic choice for internal power.
Right. So, with the past kind of put in its place, let's shift to theme 2. Building internal fortresses. This is all about managing your immediate world and tuning into those gut feelings.
And it starts with being really selective. Lesson 2, you are what you consume. If you want a high-performance mindset, you got to be, she says, fussy about your online diet, really picky.
It demands discipline, doesn't it? If you see some pointless celebrity drama blowing up on TikTok, a 50-part series or whatever, you actually have to hit mute, block, not interested. Because that stuff genuinely affects your mental state, your focus.
It does. It lowers your vibration, pulls you away from your goals. You have to consciously stop letting that low-value content just wash over you.
Okay, so you curate your input. Then comes protecting that inner snake. Lesson 3. Protect your energy. She tells this story about a scary Uber ride.
Yeah, and when she got home, she started retelling it and realized she was getting all worked up again, reliving it. The insight was, stop. Replaying the negative story, stewing in it. That just gives more of your precious energy to that bad experience or person.
Right.
It's like re-traumatizing yourself unnecessarily.
Which leads right into listening to your internal alarm system. Lesson 4. Trust your intuition. She found her gut feelings about people or situations. They had a 100% success rate, always right. Even when her logical brain was arguing, you have no proof, you're being paranoid.
And the fascinating thing is why intuition is so accurate. It's basically your subconscious integrating years and years of experiences into one quick physical signal. It warns you before your conscious mind even has the data lined up.
So ignoring it is like ignoring your own vast internal database. Crazy when you think about it.
Absolutely. And then rounding out this internal work, we have lessons 5 and 16 on healing. She actually started therapy quite late, like age 24. Found it vital for processing old wounds, family stuff, friendship stuff that went way back.
Okay, and what was the key insight there about healing?
Well, lesson 16 clarifies it. True healing isn't suddenly having zero triggers or every day being perfectly calm and peaceful. That's not realistic. Real healing is when a trigger does pop up, you notice yourself reacting differently. You catch it. You're less swept away emotionally, less reactive. You actually choose to act from a place of like self-care and self-love instead.
So the response is the measure of progress, not the absence of the trigger itself.
Exactly. That controlled, different response, that's how you know you genuinely move forward.
That makes so much sense. And it tees up our third theme perfectly, the social and emotional landscape of growth. Because once you start changing internally like that, well, the people around you definitely notice. Which brings us to lesson 8, and this one's kind of blunt. Get comfortable with making others uncomfortable. When you really grow, you step out of the neat little box people, even loved ones, friends, family, have put you in.
Yeah, they get used to you being a certain way. So when you change your beliefs, your style, maybe you start taking bigger risks. They
Right.
question it. But often it's because your change makes them feel unsettled or challenges their own status quo.
And the warning here is clear. If you listen too much to their discomfort, you'll just shrink and be so small. You have to kind of normalize being questioned. Your growth isn't about making everyone else comfortable.
And that kind of rapid personal evolution, especially in your early 20s, it often leads to lesson 12. New eras come with loneliness. She talks about outgrowing like 80% of her social circle because her priorities shifted. She wasn't about the partying anymore or maybe just surface connections.
It's so easy to feel like that's rejection, right? Like something's wrong with you.
Totally. But she frames it as just a necessary season, a period where you need that space, that quiet, to really focus on building your dream life or career.
Yeah.
Seeing the loneliness as productive, not personal. That's the key to getting through it.
Okay, and how do we process the hurt from past relationships during this? Lesson 6 offers a perspective shift. People aren't villains, they are just limited.
Right. And this isn't about letting people off the hook for bad behavior. It's purely for your own peace, for forgiveness, so you can move on.
Because constantly seeing someone as a villain, even if they really hurt you, it just drains your energy, keeps you stuck.
Exactly. But if you shift to see their limitations, maybe their upbringing, their own struggles, it helps you detach. And crucially, it stops you from subconsciously attracting similar situations because they feel energetically familiar to that old trauma, like dating the same unavailable person over and over. This helps break the pattern.
That's powerful. And finally, in this social section, lesson 10, life is too short not to get your closure. I love this one. She talks about reaching out to an ex-friend after the friendship just ended abruptly, no explanation.
Yeah, the fear is always awkwardness, or maybe they'll be rude or just ignore you. But her mindset was purely pragmatic. She figured even if they ignored her or were rude, that itself is an answer. That's the closure. It stops you from endlessly wondering, romanticizing what was lost, getting stuck in nostalgia.
And in her case, they had an amicable chat, and she just felt instantly lighter, freer, because the what if was gone. The question mark was resolved.
Precisely. Closure is often just getting an answer, not necessarily the one you hoped for.
Okay, that brings us nicely to our final theme, optimizing output and sustained performance. This is where we get practical about efficiency, consistency, making it last.
And the absolute foundation, before anything else, is lesson 13. Regulate before you grind. Your nervous system, that's the control room for everything. If you're constantly dysregulated, stressed, anxious, stuck in fight or flight, you're going to burn out fast. You feel like you just can't handle life.
So things like mindfulness, breath work, meditation, they aren't fluffy extras. They're essential fuel.
Non-negotiable. They're the engine for sustained, consistent work. Not just short bursts of frantic hustle. Regulation lets you push harder, longer, without breaking. Trying to just grind your way out of burnout, it doesn't work.
Right. Okay, so you're regulated. Now, how do you tackle the actual work, especially the stuff you dread? Lesson 9. Find joy in the way you do not what you do. If the task itself is fixed, change the process around it.
Yeah, remove the dread factor. She gives great examples, like she hates cooking, famously hates it. So she puts on jazz music or listens to a really engaging podcast while she does it. Her focus shifts to the enjoyable input, and the chore just flies by.
Or her morning routine. She makes it feel luxurious silk robe, fancy skincare, using her favorite mug for tea. She calls it feeling like a goddess. It makes healthy habits feel like a treat, not a chore. You're curating the experience.
Exactly. It's about making the doing feel good, even if the what is mundane.
And this balance between pushing yourself and self-care, it's really formalized in Lesson 22. Rest and balance is for true manifestation. This one's interesting.
It is. The idea is constantly working, always being on, actually signals danger and scarcity to your body. That's why we often feel so guilty when we try to rest. It feels unsafe.
But we need the opposite signal.
Right. Resting, truly resting, signals safety and abundance. It allows you to shift out of that frantic survival mode frequency where you're always overgiving, overworking, just trying to prove you're worthy. When you operate from safety, that's when abundance, opportunities, good things can actually find you. You create space for them.
Less frantic doing, more allowing.
Kind of. And tying all this together, the final big lesson, number 25. Get obsessed. This sounds intense, but it's about applying pure dedication and discipline to everything your potential, your happiness, your career, your transformation.
The point she makes is that a lot of people prioritize comfort or immediate pleasure. They complain more than they build. Getting obsessed means you stop caring so much about judgment or looking silly.
Yeah, you just keep going. Even if you launch 10 things and they all flop, you push through failure because you're dedicated to your own potential. Above all else, you owe it that commitment.
It's definitely an aggressive type, maybe challenges that whole balanced life ideal we hear so much about.
It does. But maybe for that kind of hyperachievement in a really short time frame, maybe that intense borderline obsessive focus is just required. It's not sustainable forever, perhaps, but for a specific goal. Maybe it's the price.
Wow. Okay, that was quite a journey. From rewiring your past programming to handling the social friction of growth, and finally, building sustainable performance based on regulating yourself first. Incredible insights. But the big question is, once you've done all this work, how do you keep that momentum going? How do you keep moving forward when things get tough again?
Right. Let's pull together 3 final lessons that really act as a compass for ongoing action and self-belief. First up, lesson 23. Discomfort is the cost of an interesting life. Simple as that. You absolutely have to normalize being a beginner, feeling awkward, stepping into the unknown. That's where growth happens, where you find the treasure. Avoiding discomfort means choosing stagnation, period.
Okay, embrace the awkwardness. Got it. What's next?
Second, lesson 24. Ask more questions. Seriously, get over the fear of looking like the least smart person in the room. It's just vanity. If you can let that go, you unlock access to free knowledge. Think about it. Someone's entire life experience, their research, their insights, all available from maybe just a 10-minute chat if you ask good questions. People generally love sharing what they know.
So ditch the ego, get curious. Makes sense. And the last one.
The last one, lesson 20. Future self-mentoring. This is potentially a real game changer for people. When you hit a wall, feel that discomfort, that self-doubt creeping in, stop asking your friends what they think you should do. Instead, ask your future self. Meaning the version of you who has already achieved the goal you're currently chasing, the one who's already succeeded. Tap into her. What would she do? How would she handle this?
So you embody her mindset, her choices. It's like you're collapsing time, borrowing confidence from an alter ego that already exists on that successful timeline.
Exactly. Your future self already figured this out.
Right.
She has the certainty. So you just align your actions today with the confidence she already possesses. It's maybe the ultimate psychological hack for pushing through self-doubt.
That idea, borrowing certainty from your future successful self, that's powerful. And that's the challenge we want to leave you with this week. Find one area, one decision point where you feel stuck or uncertain, and just ask, what would the version of me who has already crushed this goal choose to do right now? Then listen for the answer. Thank you for joining us for the deep dive. We'll see you next time.